only place for everything Vikings. 6, 1, 2, Vikings.
What's up, everyone? So we have Grizzy, also known as Grizzy Shoe from TikTok. He will be filling in for Dustin for today as he is on relief. So, Nick, if you want to introduce yourself to the fans, if for the new listeners out there today.
Drew, you didn't have to use my full government name. Grizzy Shoe is my full government name. It's just Grizzy to you. Also known as Nick, if you just want to call me Nick. I do mostly wrestling stuff over on TikTok and thinking about starting a wrestling podcast. So, yeah. But I am a big Vikings fan.
Oh, that's the big one, right? We don't want any other rival fans out there. We got the best fans in football for sure. So, speaking of that, we have a big announcement coming in, a Netflix release of the big docu series we've all been waiting for a long time. It was announced a few months ago with the docu series called Receiver. And if you don't know it, it is starring Justin Jefferson, where last year it was quarterback followed by Kirk Cousins. So this is going to follow Justin Jefferson from the 2023 season. So Nick, if you want to tell the fans, what are your kind of first thoughts and takes when you first kind of saw the docuseries?
Yeah, Drew. So I watched the first couple episodes of Quarterback, and I never finished it. I'm just now realizing I never finished it. Obviously, the Vikings quarterback at the time, Kirk Cousins, was a part of it. I know a lot of people loved that he was in it because, everyone had some newfound respect for him. But receiver documentary, I have not started yet. I've heard good things about it so far, but I have seen some things on it. Justin Jefferson, I see it's everywhere. The clip of him and Derwin James, where Jefferson's targeting the bigger name players, and they just don't want to guard him because he's him.
Yeah,
Justin Jefferson's just him.
yeah, he's just that guy. He's been that guy pretty much since his rookie season. Coming in, pretty much setting the league on fire with the start he's having. They talked a little bit about how many yards he's had. He's had the most receiving yards to start a career. He's going into year 5 now, coming on that 5th-year option. So he's had the most receiving yards in the first 4 seasons of any NFL player in NFL history. So that's a big accomplishment for him. Kind of follows his journey, dating back to his first few weeks into the season, kind of dealing with the injury when he had the hamstring thing, and then his recovery, and then kind of finishing out that season battling for that last playoff spot when it was Nick Mullins kind of replacing Kirk Cousins. So, so it's a very, very good time, to kind of give us some distractions, give us some little time to kind of see some Vikings football during the off season. But, unfortunately, those are the things that, we, kind of give us a distraction from the big low, the big valley that kind of happened a couple days prior. So unfortunately, 4th-round corner from Oregon, rookie corner from Oregon, Khyree Jackson, unfortunately passed away this past Sunday. This past Saturday, I believe. So the big thing is this was an unexpected one. It was not one that he unfortunately died in a car crash where he was out on a Friday night. So it was he was out on a Friday night, according to the police report, and it was out, Friday night into a Saturday morning, where he was out with some of his friends. He was actually out with 2 of his high school teammates that also played FBS ball. He was in the passenger seat where it is allegedly said that a drunk driver hit him, causing his vehicle to spin out and strike a tree, and unfortunately that car was the only fatalities from that accident. So Nick, if you want to talk about what were your kind of thoughts and reactions when you kind of heard that news pop up on Saturday morning?
I just couldn't believe it. At first I thought it wasn't real, honestly. And then, you see everyone posting about it, you see the NFL posting about it, and you're like, wow, another one who just he didn't even get his career started. And us Vikings fans, obviously had high hopes for him, and just the fact that he could have been something good. And it's not about that. At the end of the day, it's more about that he was a 25-year-old man who lost his life, and he worked so hard to get to where he was, and he didn't even get to show off. So us here at 612, our thoughts and prayers are with the Jackson family.
Yeah, and if you follow me on TikTok, our 612 fans, it's unfortunate. It's becoming a common occurrence. It kind of feels like, pretty much since I was born in 2000. This is now the fourth player that, I've got to see growing up. Was kind of a unexpected passing, kind of dating back to Corey Stringer for some of our older Viking fans out there. Just recently over COVID, we had kind of a short back-to-back one where Tavares Jackson, he was the starting quarterback for us in 2008 before Brett Favre came in. He died in a car crash, unfortunately, and then it just seems like it's becoming a common occurrence. Jeff Gladney, our 2020 first round pick from TCU, he had some things kind of going on. The Vikings unfortunately had released him, kind of had his thing he was dealing with. His name got cleared, and just right when he was about to get back in the league, he just unfortunately passed in a car crash. It just seems like this Jackson the Gladney thing was so similar, especially in such a short time. So like Nick was saying, at the 612 family, we're giving our thoughts and prayers, our condolences out to the Jackson family and all the other friends and family that were in that car that unfortunately passed as well. So, but that does leave, a big hole in our roster, unfortunately. Um, so we have now an unexpected roster opening. It seems like, we've how can we transition to kind of get a replacement for Khyree Jackson, going into this next season after his unexpected passing?
Oh, you're asking me.
Yeah.
Normally you'd say Grizzy. What do you? So obviously tragic that all of us here at 612 were big fans of Khyree Jackson. We were excited to see what he could do, but with there being an opening at the cornerback position, and sadly being an opening, there's still free agents out there like Xavier Howard. I wouldn't mind picking up, and then you got the most recent rumor of possibly if the Saints want to move on from Marshawn Lattimore, the Vikings will be one of those teams interested in him. Just the thing with Marshawn Lattimore, he's a great corner. He's definitely a Pro Bowl caliber corner. He's, but I don't know, he's getting up there in age, right, Drew? A little bit.
Yeah. So Marshawn Lattimore was drafted in 2017. So you're looking at about 28, 29, kind of towards the end of his prime, I would say.
It would kind of, because if you trade for him, you got to take on. I don't know what his contract is. Obviously, Drew's one of our contract guys. He knows a lot of the contracts. I don't know what the Vikings are really looking at cap space wise. I don't know if they could even take on Lattimore. But if you can go pick up a guy named Howard, like Howard, or I don't know who else is really out there. I know there's Gilmore too, but I feel like that's like a 1 year rental type guy. If Gilmore, maybe you get Howard for 2 years, depending on how the money is, or Howard I think could be just another one of those guys that you get maybe just 1 year and then maybe just look to the draft next year to kind of look
Mhm.
at the corner position.
Yeah, and the thing is with this too is, Khyree Jackson was a guy that it felt like he kind of had a more like a heart and soul kind of mentality for this team. So it'll definitely be a hard thing to replace going into next season. But it's almost like where else can they go? We don't really have a lot of draft picks, this upcoming this next cycle for the draft, but another option is the draft too. We had this with Jeff Gladney, like I said, a couple of years ago. They found a guy and they drafted Khyree Jackson. They signed Byron Murphy. So, there's some other guys out there that we can, we'll never forget Khyree Jackson and what he brought. But unfortunately, it's just one of those things where it, it's hard to put into words, to be honest, because it's so hard because it's so unexpected. Like we're still, I mean, I'm still kind of shocked that this happened because this is a guy that was my age, and to see things go like that definitely puts things into perspective. But where else can they
It
go?
tells
Kind of
you
thing.
guys don't take every day for granted. Make sure
Yeah,
to live every day out.
yeah, for sure. And like I said, where else can they go? Like I mentioned the draft earlier. There's some guys out there next year. It's a very deep corner class. They can go in the first round. There's guys like Will Johnson, Travis Hunter, Denzel Burke from Ohio State. if you're a big college football fan. So
You're
there's some
forgetting
guys
the
there.
best one in the class.
Which one am I forgetting?
Benjamin Morrison.
Yep, I know you're going to say that. I wanted to let you say that one because Nick over here is a big Notre Dame fan. So Benjamin Morrison is another good option too. Um, it's a very deep corner class. Another thing is too, they can also go in the mid rounds too again and take another crack at that, like they did with Khyree. See if there's a guy late in the draft. Maybe he's a late round steal. So, we never really know with these things. It is the draft for a reason, but another option is too, they can always go in the interior as well. So it feels like a lot of the needs that we're looking for this year is kind of lining up for next year with the interior and corner kind of being our biggest hole. But the big thing is too, I said earlier, Nick, you're a big college football fan, so I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on the college football 25 release coming up this Monday. If you have the deluxe edition, and then the regular standard edition will be coming out this Friday. So the big one I wanted to ask you today was, what is the first team you're going to be starting off in your dynasty mode?
First team dynasty mode. We were talking about this earlier, Drew. A team that I keep bringing up is Marshall. That's a team I keep bringing up. Obviously, that's the college. Most people only know that college, at least Vikings fans. They're like, oh, yeah, it's the college Randy Moss went to. And then they're like, oh, I can't name anyone else that went there. I'm kidding. There's probably many big names that went there, but Marshall would be a good team to rebuild. I know me being a Syracuse basketball fan, it'd be kind of nice to rebuild Syracuse and be like, hey, we can be good at football too, not just basketball. Duke's another one of those teams where I feel like it'd be just, I don't know. And then you got Purdue. Like I feel like it'd be funny to take a really good basketball college team and just be like, we're good at football now too. Yeah. I just thought that would be funny. So there's Buffalo too. Buffalo would be a fun team, me being from the Buffalo area. Obviously, I was saying Colorado, but Drew was like, oh, they're kind of like you got Shedeur Sanders, you got Travis Hunter. But me, obviously, I'll be playing, at least if I'm playing online against people, I'll be using my Notre Dame Fighting Irish with Riley Leonard. Too bad we don't have the dog Audric Estime anymore. I love that dude. But Drew, what team? I know you were saying a couple teams you're looking about using, and
yeah. So you brought it up earlier. You brought Buffalo. So a team I was kind of looking at in the MAC actually was Northern Illinois. Nick, you're a little bit young for this, but when you were about a decade ago, there was a guy named Jordan Lynch from Northern Illinois University. He was a Heisman finalist, took the NIU Huskies to the Orange Bowl, which is their greatest finish ever in their program's history. So, NIU kind of bringing that back from the Jordan Lynch era would kind of be fun to do. They're not, you'd have that Illinois kind of pipeline a little bit. So, they've thrown out some good recruits, just recently with our big first round pick and JJ McCarthy. He's from Illinois. So that'd be kind of fun. Any Texas school, like those smaller schools like UTEP, another one for Aaron Jones. So I think that'd be another one to do too. UTSA, if you're kind of into that smaller school, they do have a good roster. There's North Texas. That'd be a really fun one to do. And then kind of look into the Florida area. FAU with those uniforms look really, really clean. And you'd also have the Florida pipeline too. Stanford bringing back the Jim Harbaugh, Andrew Luck kind of era. So, maybe there's an older one out there. Maybe we bring back the Army Navy, like you said Syracuse. That was a really big school back in like the 50s with Jim Brown and all those guys that they had back in the day. So maybe we bring back Navy with the Roger Staubach era of football, or Army. That would be kind of a fun one to do. So it's something that I'm definitely looking forward to. And like I said, I'm really excited to play this. It's something I've been waiting for a long time. It's been 11 years since I played this game, and something very different from where the new generation of football fans that play football are. They're used to kind of more of those microtransactions, the mutts and all that, where trying to explain to some people that it's not about the mutt and the microtransactions.
Yeah,
it's about
if you're getting NCAA just to play mutt, just buy Madden, please. Yeah. Do us all a favor and buy Madden. Don't spend your money on NCAA. because NCAA is for dynasty and road to glory.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's nice to see too, because it kind of seems like they're kind of bringing back some of those old features from NCAA 14. So the simplicity is there. So it won't be anything like too foreign for some of those older users out there, because they'll kind of know how to operate the game. And there's some new stuff too. So the graphics are better. The throwing meters there for the Madden users. So it's something
And you
that's
still
definitely
got
different.
the sadly, it's not something I know you can turn it off, but something they still have. It looked, at least watching like the trailer and stuff, it looks like they still have the superstar and stuff. Which
Hmm.
I mean, I'm not a huge fan of it. At least I thought maybe they'd leave it out of college because obviously going back 11 years, like Drew said, they didn't have it. But this is a new era. This is
Hmm.
2024, not 2011, not
Yeah.
2011, 2014.
2014. Yeah. So yeah, and like the thing, and the other thing I was gonna say that's really different too is they're actually gonna have the real names of the players, something very different back in the day too. So if you're not a really big college football fan, I recommend buying the game if you're a Vikings fan out there that doesn't really watch college football, because it kind of give you a little intro sneak peek of who are some up and coming players. I don't base my overalls on everything, but usually it's a good indicator of where players are going to be at this next draft. A lot of people are kind of having issues with the Shador Sanders, Travis Hunter overalls. That Travis Hunter is the number one wide receiver. Personally, I don't think he is, but he's still going to be a guy that's is going to be a first round pick in this class. So usually those higher overalls will definitely be one. It's a good way to keep track of players. Maybe some small school guys that you're not really familiar with. Maybe some guy on the other coast that you don't really watch a lot of Pac-12 football if you're from the East Coast. So it's something to definitely get used to knowing some good football players that are up and coming in this next draft. But yeah, like I said,
Yeah, and
definitely.
one last
Yeah.
thing. So if you are a big Madden fan and you're also an NCAA fan, you also this year you can upload your Road to Glory guy to Madden.
Yeah.
That's something they brought back. So if you guys like doing the superstar mode on Madden, play NCAA and go right to Madden. I think that's personally pretty cool. But
Yeah.
I'll leave if we're done with the NCAA talk, I'll leave it on this. Please give us a basketball game. That's it.
Yes. Yeah, they did have a basketball game. It was 2010. Blake Griffin was on the cover back in the day. So, I think it's definitely a start for that if you're a basketball fan as well. But, like Nick was saying too, it's a big addition too, is you can transfer your guy over to Madden. And, maybe you're a guy who wants to be that underdog 2-star recruit and maybe kind of build your guy up to being that, Carson Wentz, Trey Lance, FCS kind of guy, small school sort of guy. Uh, and
Not small school, but I was thinking Brock Purdy. You could try to be the
yeah.
last pick in the draft and take your team
Mhm.
to the Super Bowl, but
Yeah.
if you get drafted by the 49ers, I guess it's pretty easy.
Yeah. And
Just kidding. I personally think Purdy is a good quarterback. I know
yeah,
that's a big debate.
yeah. But yeah, like I said, if you want to, try to dethrone JJ McCarthy, maybe you want to do somewhere you have 2 first-round rookies going into that year one. So it's definitely something that's going to be fun, something interesting. You can have your own creative guy on the Minnesota Vikings and have them win a Super Bowl. So, like I said, there's a lot of interesting news going on with the Vikings. Definitely some highs, some lows, and maybe things that we're just looking forward to in the future. So it's been kind of a high news week for the Vikings. Definitely something to, you know, you're a Vikings fan. Definitely been in, having your face in the news a little bit. Something I wasn't really expecting. Going into this off season. So that we'd be talking a lot about Vikings news in, the beginning or middle of July. So, but yeah, that'll be it for us today at 612. If you like this, leave a like and subscribe down below. If you want, you can follow Nick on TikTok, and his username will be Grizzy Shoe. If you're into wrestling, WWE, he's got some good stuff over there too. He's also a big Vikings fan. He'll occasionally cover some Vikings football over there. And if you want to follow me, you can follow me at Skull TV on TikTok, and then you can follow me on
If it is
Twitter.
right.
Yeah, it'll be down below on Nick's name there. And if you want to follow me on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, that'll be at Skull TV _. So, like I said, we'll see you at the next episode, and we'll see you later, Skull Vikes.